Breaking news, and nah, this one don't feel like regular rap drama. Picture this, your phone lights up at 6:17 a.m. with one headline that makes you sit straight up in bed: Kodak Black sentencing. Goodbye Kodak Black forever, not hiatus, not comeback, not another headline you scroll past. Forever, that one word hit fans like a punch to the chest, and within minutes timelines were on fire. Some people thought it was clickbait. Others thought it was the usual scare tactic. But then the rumors started stacking. Court dates whispered about, friends going quiet, studio sessions canceled, and a sentence that nobody was ready to hear floating around the internet like a ghost. This time, there's no deal. Fans are shocked across Twitter. Comment sections look like prayer circles mixed with chaos. One person says he always bounces back. Another says, nah, this feels different. And the scariest part? The silence from Kodak himself. No jokes, no rants, no cryptic captions, just quiet. Sources close to the situation claim this isn't about one mistake, it's about years catching up at once. Others say this is bigger than the law, that politics, optics, and old grudges are all colliding at the worst possible moment. And when one alleged insider dropped the line, they're ready to make an example, the internet froze. So what really happened behind those courtroom doors? Who stayed loyal and who folded the second things got real? And why are some people saying Kodak already said his goodbyes like he knew this was coming? Stay right here. Because once we peel this back, you're gonna realize this isn't just about sentencing. This might be the end of an era. It didn't start with sirens, it didn't start with a headline, it started with silence. The kind of silence that doesn't hit you until you realize something's missing, like an energy just disappeared. No wild Kodak lives, no trolling on Instagram, no heated bar-for-bar clapbacks. Just quiet, eerily quiet. And for someone like Kodak Black, that's not just suspicious, that's alarming. In the first week of the month, fans started to notice the shift. Kodak's socials, usually chaotic, funny, unpredictable, were low-key. His stories, a few throwback posts, a picture of a Bible, a photo of his mother captioned, "If I ain't got nothing else, I got this." And then nothing, no new drops, no previews, not even the usual "y'all ready" tease, just blackout. Then the whispers started. A message from a plugged-in blog account appeared. Yak moving different lately. Word is something serious is coming down the line. It didn't even get traction at first. People assumed it was about an album, maybe a label change. But then someone in Kodak's circle dropped a cryptic tweet that lit the first match. Sometimes God makes you sit down before you crash out. That's when fans got nervous. People were screen recording old lives, trying to analyze body language. A clip from 2 months ago resurfaced, Kodak in the studio, uncharacteristically quiet, just staring at the board. One engineer said in the comments he knew something that day. Everyone started watching that video like it was a clue. Then came the first real red flag, a court document leaked, sealed at the time, but marked with Kodak's government name. It was quickly taken down, but not before someone grabbed a screenshot. It was a motion filed in Florida. A violation hearing, details redacted, but the caption someone added, "It's not looking good." Suddenly, everything clicked. This wasn't album rollout behavior. This wasn't about music politics. This was about freedom. And what made it worse, the people closest to Kodak weren't saying a thing. One of his longtime producers, who normally floods his page with studio sessions, started promoting a new artist. His barber posted a flick with someone else in the chair, captioned, "Stay solid." Even the usual free yak crowd silent. And then finally, the moment that broke the story wide open. A South Florida reporter who'd covered Kodak's past run-ins tweeted the following: "Confirmed, Kodak Black scheduled for sentencing hearing next Friday. Court documents suggest extended time requested. Developing." That tweet sent the internet into a spiral, because this wasn't just another violation. This wasn't about weed, missing a class, or being late to a check-in. This time, the court was talking about enhancement, the kind of language that gets used when they're adding time, not subtracting it. Within minutes, Twitter lit up. Now what? I thought bro was out of the system. Kodak can't catch a break SMH. They've been waiting to make an example out of him. You could feel the tension building. Every rap blog had the headline up. YouTubers scrambled to upload reaction videos. Instagram meme pages went crazy. Some fans were in denial. Others were already saying goodbye. But the real panic started when Kodak's lawyer posted a now-deleted tweet that read, "Not everyone gets a second miracle." That was the moment people knew it was serious. You see, this wasn't Kodak's first time in the crosshairs, but this time, the stakes were different. This wasn't about one mistake. This was about a pattern, the one prosecutors love to frame in courtrooms. They weren't just talking about the new charges. They were pulling up everything, every slip-up, every violation, every lyric they could twist. Every interview where he said something reckless. They were building a case not just against Kodak the man, but Kodak the image. And here's the part that hurts deep down: Kodak saw it coming. People close to him say he stopped smiling weeks before the news broke, that he was in the studio, not rapping, just sitting, that he told one person, "I can feel it. They not letting me off this time." There's even a voice note that allegedly came from a late-night studio session where Kodak says, "I did too much for them to forget who I was. Now they wanna make me pay for it." Fans replayed that line like it was a lyric. They wanna make me pay for it. What did he mean? Was this about the justice system, or was he talking about the people around him? Because here's where things get messy. As the sentencing date got closer, rumors started flying that people in Kodak's own team were distancing themselves. Quiet meetings, quiet contract exits. One of his business partners posted a quote on Instagram: "Sometimes loyalty costs too much when the ship's already sinking." The comments, ruthless. "So y'all jumping ship now? Fake love always exposes itself." And then came a leaked text, allegedly sent from someone in Kodak's former management. It read, "We're not fighting this one, it's out of our hands." That phrase right there, "not fighting this one," was what sent fans over the edge, because Kodak had always been the fighter. The bounce-back king, the one who took hits and still came out swinging. And now, his own team was waving the white flag. One fan wrote, "If y'all giving up on Kodak, y'all was never down in the first place." Still, even with all the chaos, Kodak remained silent. No post, no live, no diss, just a single IG story on the night before sentencing, a throwback video of him as a kid shadowboxing in the backyard. No caption, no music, just wind blowing in the background. Fans were shattered. One girl wrote, "I feel like he's saying goodbye." Another fan went viral for posting a mashup video titled "Goodbye Kodak Black." It was a 4-minute tribute with clips of his earliest freestyles, jail calls, concert moments, and behind-the-scenes interviews where he talked about changing his life. It hit over 2 million views in 24 hours. The final slide of the video just said, "They never gave him peace, but he still gave us hits." And then sentencing day arrived. The court livestream was restricted, no video, just updates. Reporters sat outside. The mood tense. 30 minutes in, the first update dropped. Kodak has arrived in court. An hour later, hearing underway. Defense arguing prior rehabilitation. But the update that shook the room came next. Prosecution presenting enhancement request, alleging failure to comply with multiple supervised conditions. In normal terms, that meant they were stacking it up. By noon, word leaked that the sentencing had been finalized, but media weren't given the full details immediately. So fans waited and waited and waited. Until finally, one reporter dropped the line that hit like a death sentence to fans across the world. Not official yet, but hearing whispers of significant time, potential double digits. Kodak left the courtroom in cuffs. That's when the goodbye really began. Fans hit the streets with signs. A group of supporters gathered outside the courthouse chanting "Free Yak." Online, hashtags surged again. Number they did Kodak dirty, number free Yak forever, number they set him up. And behind all that noise, silence from Kodak. Still no statement, still no post, just a final IG story, 3 black heart emojis, no words. And that's when people really felt it in their soul. This might not be temporary, this might be forever. Right after the news hit, the tone of the internet shifted like a storm front blowing in. First came the shock, the heartbreak. Fans writing "Free Yak" in all caps, begging for some kind of miracle. But then the mood started to change. Because when the dust started to settle, people started asking questions. Where was the team? Where were the people who swore Kodak was family? Where was the loyalty now? And that's when the betrayal started coming to light, one story at a time. It started with a video. A clip surfaced of someone Kodak had signed back in 2022. A rapper who used to post Kodak every week, thank him for changing his life. In the clip, he's on live, laughing, drinking. A fan asks in the comments, "You still writing for Yak?" He laughs again, then shrugs and says, "It is what it is. That ain't got nothing to do with me." The comments exploded. People were furious. "Bro, Kodak fed you and this how you act? Snake behavior, no loyalty." It's always the ones you put on who switch first. But he wasn't the only one. Within days, fans noticed something strange. Kodak's official pages were no longer being updated. The management team stopped responding to messages. His lawyer's assistant reportedly declined media requests with a cold line, "He won't be giving any statements at this time." At first, people assumed it was for legal reasons. Then came the DMs. A well-known blogger with a reputation for exposing industry dirt dropped this. "I've seen the texts." Certain people in his camp started making calls before the sentencing, trying to line up new deals and distance their brand from the fallout. They knew they folded. The internet ran wild. Screenshots started surfacing. Alleged texts between Kodak's old road manager and a brand consultant. Messages like, "We'll need to rework the campaign. He won't be available for at least a few years." Dated 2 days before sentencing. The betrayal was thick. One fan tweeted, "Y'all already had exit strategies before the verdict." That's disgusting. Meanwhile, other voices started speaking up, people who actually were loyal. Kodak's cousin went live and didn't hold back. "Y'all fake industry dudes" was calling him bruh when the money was coming in. "Now y'all deleting pics and moving weird. Keep that same energy when he comes home." That live got clipped and shared everywhere, overlaid with sad piano music and clips of Kodak helping people in his hood. One fan turned it into a full-blown TikTok mini-documentary titled, "When Kodak Needed Loyalty, They Gave Him Distance." Overnight, fans started drawing lines. You were either real or you were fake. There was no in-between. Even some artists started catching strays. A rapper Kodak had publicly co-signed posted a promo video that didn't mention the situation at all. Fans lit up the comments. "Not even a free yak? You forget who gave you that first big look. Your silence says everything." But the most shocking silence came from the label. There was no official statement, no support post, no acknowledgement. Just corporate silence, until a rumor started floating. A blog claimed an insider told them Kodak's contract was quietly being reevaluated. The source said, "They're freezing assets tied to his name and reviewing all current sponsorship relationships." That tweet made it to Reddit within 5 minutes. The subreddit went into meltdown. Some users called it strategic business. Others called it industry betrayal of the highest order, and then the fans fought back. One girl went viral on TikTok after she found a photo of Kodak with 2 execs from the label, smiling at a deal signing. She overlaid it with audio from his old interview where he said, "I ain't never needed a handout, just a little support when things get rough." The caption said, "This what y'all forgot," over 6 million views. But it wasn't just fans speaking out, it was family, friends, and even a few unexpected allies. Boosie posted a tweet, "They love to lock us up and act like we was never legends. Kodak a legend. Y'all better not rewrite history just cause he down bad." And then Sada Baby dropped a freestyle that went viral on Twitter with one bar that had everybody talking. "Free yak, industry full of rats / they post your WS but never got your back." But while the real ones showed love, some people doubled down on their distance. A photographer who toured with Kodak posted a memories reel but cropped him out of multiple frames. When fans called it out, he responded with a slick comment. "I only post people still moving forward." That one comment triggered a whole Twitter thread. Kodak gave too many people light. They couldn't wait to walk away when it got dark. As the days passed, the fakeness kept surfacing. One promoter who booked Kodak multiple times in the past started advertising new shows with other acts, claiming he was only working with clean brands now. Fans found screenshots of him thanking Kodak months earlier for helping him put food on the table. The switch-up was disgusting. And then came the ultimate betrayal. A former affiliate someone Kodak once referred to as family went live and claimed that they warned Kodak to take a plea deal earlier, that he didn't listen. That he was too stubborn, but fans weren't having it. One viewer commented, "Bro, why are you going live now? You was next to him all those years and now you wanna play I told you so." Sit down. Another clip surfaced of that same dude partying with artists Kodak had fallen out with. The energy was obvious. People had moved on, but the fan base wasn't letting go. They created a digital wall of support. Edits, tributes, artwork, even candlelight-style online vigils where people shared their favorite Kodak verses and wrote how his music helped them through tough times. One video featured audio from a jail call Kodak made back in 2018. "I know the world moves fast, but I just hope when they mention my name, they remember I was solid." That clip made it to TikTok and got over 10 million views in 2 days. People were remembering, they were hurting, and they were angry. Angry at the system, angry at the industry, angry at the fake love that crumbled the second Kodak couldn't defend himself. And through it all, one question kept echoing. Where are the people he fed? The ones who were at the labeled dinners, flying private, sitting front row at shows. The ones who wore sniper gang chains like armor when it was trendy, but took them off the second court got real. And the truth was loud, most of them were ghosts. And for a man who gave so much energy, loyalty, and pain to the game, that was the biggest betrayal of all. Just when everyone thought the story was written, that this was it, that Kodak Black was down for the count, locked away with his name slowly fading into silence, something happened. Something that flipped the entire narrative upside down. It started as a rumor, just one post. A now-deleted tweet from an underground producer who used to work in Kodak's camp. The tweet read, "Y'all thought he didn't have a plan? Yak ain't stupid, he knew this day was coming." Nobody understood what it meant at first. The timing felt off. The court date had passed. The sentencing was already in motion. What plan could there possibly be? And then the leaks began. A mysterious Dropbox link started making the rounds among Kodak fan pages. Nobody knew who posted it first. The file name? The Vault, Yak's Legacy Project. Inside were 5 unreleased tracks, all tagged with a hidden timestamp dating back months before the sentencing. Raw files, no mastering, but the lyrics? Shocking. These weren't just throwaways or freestyle energy. These were confessions, plans, direct shots, and hidden truths. On one track titled "Goodbye to Me," Kodak rapped, "I seen my reflection in shackles and knew / if I ain't leave nothing, I'd leave the truth." On another called "Still Watching," he hinted at betrayal inside his circle. "You ate off my plate, then posted up with my enemies / say less, I left a checklist with identities." Fans lost their minds. Reddit threads exploded with people breaking down lyrics line by line. TikTok was filled with breakdown videos claiming Yak had predicted everything, that he knew who was going to flip, that he saw the betrayal before it happened, that he had recorded these songs as a final statement before going silent. But the craziest part, the final track, "One Call Away," ended with a voice message. A real one, Kodak's voice, not rapping, not wild, calm, chilling. "If you hearing this, I'm gone. Not forever, but for long enough to watch y'all move without me. Let the truth float. I'm good. I left enough behind to be louder than silence." Boom. Social media went nuclear. It wasn't just that Kodak had unreleased music. It was the calculated way he left it. He didn't vanish without a trace. He set the whole thing up like a puzzle, waiting to be unlocked at the exact moment the world assumed he had nothing left to say. And then came the video. A previously private YouTube channel, only ever followed by a few fan pages, suddenly went public. The first upload was titled, "For Them, Not You," Kodak Black. It was a 9-minute mini-documentary, not label-made. Not polished, just raw footage. Him walking in the studio, laughing with his son, lighting a candle in front of a photo of his grandma. Clips of phone calls, drive-bys through his old block, late-night convos in a hotel room with his best friend. And at the end, Kodak turned to the camera and said, "They ain't gonna love me till I'm gone, so let me show you what love I gave before they forget." The final frame just said, "To be continued." People were in shambles. Fans were crying in comments. One person wrote, "This is Tupac-level energy. Yak saw the end coming and gave us closure before it happened." Another said, "He's gone physically, but spiritually this might be his most powerful moment." And suddenly, the whole vibe shifted. Those who had been silent started to speak, not the snakes, no, the real ones. One of Kodak's childhood friends posted a video from a year ago that never made the blogs. It was Yak talking about why he didn't trust anyone in the industry. "They clap for you when you up, but they be in the shadows, jealous, waiting for the fall. I'm building something that don't need none of them." The friend added in the caption, "He knew y'all energy before y'all showed it." Even the people who had distanced themselves began to double back. A brand Kodak had partnered with, who quietly removed his photo from their campaign the day of sentencing, re-uploaded the campaign with his face back on it. No apology, just vibes, but the fans saw straight through it. "Don't try to spin the block now. Y'all turned your back and now wanna ride the wave again." And just when the wave was at its highest, Kodak's team made a move nobody saw coming. A private letter sent to select bloggers, journalists, and media pages. It was handwritten. It opened with, "Let this remind you I'm still creating, even from the inside." The letter outlined his plan. A foundation he wanted started in his name, built for artists who have been burned by the system and forgotten when the lights go out. It listed names, real names, people he once helped who had since moved different. Not to shame them, but to show how far his support reached and how quickly it disappeared. The blogs were eating it up. It was clear Kodak wasn't just sitting in silence. He was curating a legacy, controlling the story. Releasing it on his terms, one popular YouTuber said in his breakdown, "This ain't an ending, this a blueprint." Yak saw what happens to dudes when they go away and get erased. He wasn't gonna be another name forgotten in the system. He left a whole arsenal of truth. It's genius. And the fans, oh, they activated. Yak planned this started trending. People began calling his unreleased songs letters from the inside. His lyrics were being treated like prophecies. Even casual listeners were tapping in, discovering songs they never heard before, diving deep into his discography like it was sacred text. Then came the theory. A popular blogger suggested Kodak intentionally went quiet so the spotlight would fall away from the distractions, so that when he dropped this legacy pack, people would be forced to listen without noise. What if Kodak didn't fall off? What if he stepped back so the truth could speak louder? And just like that, the whole conversation flipped. This wasn't a fall from grace. It was a controlled exit, a documented disappearance. One fan wrote, "They thought they buried him. He was planting seeds." People who had turned away came running back. Fans started writing letters to his team, asking where they could donate to the foundation. Artists started dropping tribute verses. DJs started spinning Kodak classics like they were brand new. This wasn't the end. This was a rebirth. And for the first time since sentencing, Kodak's IG posted a photo, not new, from 2021. Him in the booth, head down, mic hanging above him. The caption, "The story ain't finished." No emojis, no hashtags, just a reminder. And fans felt that. Because if Kodak can write a whole narrative before the door closed, if he can move pieces even after being silenced, what else did he plan? What else is coming? The ripple effects from Kodak's Vault release didn't just shake fans, it shook the entire industry. What started as a quiet, painful goodbye turned into a full-on cultural resurrection. The boy they said was gone forever had left behind a ghost that wouldn't stop speaking, and the industry couldn't ignore it. Radio stations that had scrubbed him from their rotation weeks earlier suddenly started spinning his old hits again. Not the radio bangers either, the deep cuts. The pain songs, the ones that sounded different now that you knew the man behind them had walked into a courtroom already knowing what was coming. A DJ in Miami played Testimony back-to-back with Malcolm XXX and said on air, "They wanted y'all to forget, but these records ain't letting us." Even people who never really rocked with Kodak began publicly acknowledging the impact. One Atlantic Records exec posted a story of a packed listening session back in 2019, writing, "Dude was a genius, underrated, always 3 steps ahead." The fans didn't care if it was clout chasing. They just wanted the recognition he'd earned. But it wasn't just fans and DJs keeping the story alive. The artists started responding too. 21 Savage posted a video rapping over a Kodak instrumental with a caption, "Yak forever, no matter what." Lil Durk uploaded an old pic with Kodak and dropped a cryptic, "They switched on you, but we still 100." Even Drake, who had never said much publicly about Kodak, posted a story playing "Calling My Spirit" with no caption, just a candle emoji. People knew what that meant. The industry had tried to erase him, but the artists who felt his presence, they were letting it be known Yak's energy still moves in the room, even when he doesn't. And then came the fans heavy. People started organizing streaming parties. Reddit threads launched a movement to get one of Kodak's songs to #1 posthumously, in spirit. Not because he was gone, but because they wanted the system to know they couldn't silence him emotionally. One viral post read, "He may be physically away, but spiritually he just dropped the hardest album of his life." A compilation fan video titled Kodak Black. The legacy they couldn't bury hit 10 million views in 48 hours. It featured audio from his unreleased Vault tracks and overlaid headlines, courtroom sketches, fan protests, and old interviews where he said stuff like, "I know they waiting on my downfall, but I promise when I go, I'ma leave something behind they can't delete." That line became the unofficial tagline of the movement. "They can't delete me." It hit Instagram bios, TikTok captions. Merch, even a fan in Broward tatted it across his forearm with a picture of Kodak in a crown of thorns. The internet didn't just grieve, it mobilized. And that's when the attention started to turn to the industry silence. People began calling out execs, influencers, and fake friends by name. One famous podcaster got dragged for doing a full hour on Kodak's downfall but never mentioned the Vault or Legacy project once. The comments flamed him. You got all the smoke when he was down, but none of the flowers now that he spoke his truth. This is why artists don't trust the media. Y'all pick and choose. Even people within Kodak's past circle started cracking. One of his former business partners went live, clearly stressed, trying to explain why he'd been distant. His explanation? It wasn't my place to speak on anything, I'm still processing. The comments weren't having it. You process the checks though. Loyalty is action, not silence. But perhaps the biggest shift came when one of Kodak's former label reps reached out to a major streaming platform and requested a legacy playlist. At first, they ignored it, then the hashtag #Yak Legacy playlist started trending. Fans flooded the platform with demands, petitions circulated. TikToks exposed playlists featuring artists with bigger scandals who still had homepage love. Under pressure, they gave in, and when the playlist went live, it wasn't just a collection of hits. It was curated with messages from fans, little notes between songs that read, "This one got me through my first heartbreak. He made us feel seen even when the world looked away. Broward born, culture raised, people cried, people celebrated, people remembered." And all while this legacy movement grew stronger by the hour, Kodak himself remained silent. No calls leaked, no new statements, no cryptic IG captions, until one day, out of nowhere, his mother posted a photo. It was a throwback, Kodak as a little boy, smiling, holding a microphone made out of aluminum foil. The caption, "He been had a voice, y'all just starting to listen." It broke the internet, blogs reposted, fans screenshot it. Artists commented heart emojis. It felt like a sign not just from a grieving mother, but from the universe telling the world, the voice isn't gone, it's just resting. And just when things started to settle, one more twist dropped. A sealed file was handed over to an independent journalist. Not TMZ, not the blogs, someone grassroots. Someone Kodak had shouted out years ago in a freestyle. The journalist posted the file and said, "Kodak left this for me before sentencing. Told me, if the industry don't tell the story right, make sure you do." Inside the file, a video, Kodak talking directly to the camera. He wasn't flashy, no chains, no grill, just him. Calm. They think this story ends in a cell. Nah, this chapter just quiet so the next one can be loud. They gone act like they forgot, but I made sure y'all remember me in a way they can't spin, edit, or cancel. I did this for me, for my son, for y'all. Keep listening. The last 10 seconds of the video, just silence. No music, just Kodak staring at the camera, then nodding once. The screen cut to black and it was over. But somehow, it felt like the beginning. A new beginning, one that didn't depend on radio play, streaming numbers, or industry acceptance. Just truth, raw and permanent, written in verses, hidden in vaults. Echoing through headphones and hearts. And now, everyone's waiting, because if this was the Goodbye Kodak chapter, it didn't feel like goodbye, it felt like a promise. And just like that, we've reached the end of the chapter, but maybe not the end of the story. From courtroom whispers to industry betrayal, from silent IG stories to vault drops that shook the culture, Kodak Black didn't just disappear, he orchestrated a legacy. He left something behind that speaks louder than press releases, louder than silence, louder than the fake love that vanished the second the cameras stopped rolling. This wasn't just a sentence. It was a statement. He saw it coming. He planned for it. And in the face of abandonment, he delivered truth. Raw, unfiltered, untouched by industry politics or PR spin. But now the question is, what happens next? Do the fake friends keep quiet? Will the industry erase his name? Or will the fans keep his voice alive louder than ever? Because one thing is clear, this isn't just about Kodak. This is about how we treat artists when they're no longer trending, when the lights dim, when the headlines turn. Now it's your turn. Drop a comment right now. Do you think Kodak knew exactly what he was doing? Was this planned genius or poetic survival? And do you believe this really is goodbye or just a reset? Like this video if you made it this far. Subscribe so you don't miss what drops next. And share this with someone who knows Kodak was never just another rapper, he was a blueprint. Because this story ain't even close to over. Stay locked in, stay loud for the ones they try to silence. And remember, they can't delete what's already legendary. Number free act forever.